Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Cause this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're gonna give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. What's up? What is up? Top of the morning to you. It's an early Friday morning. You know what that means. It's the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration. I'm going to squeeze another a.k.a. in there from the old days of law school. Breezy. I feel good this morning, y'all. It's early. It's the early morning edition of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. And today's episode is called Back to School. And back to school, that phrase has never provoked so many smiles, so much emotion. The endorphins are kicking in as parents are finally taking their kids back to school. But as we always do, the Ball Hog Sports Talk, there's a different twist. And our twist is going to make sure that sports, business, and entertainment collide. I'll be joined by the crew, but I'll tee it up by saying this. As I don my new back-to-school haircut, as I threw on my nice tie and put on my back-to-school clothes, as we get our back-to-school supplies in sports, business, and entertainment, the learning process is a two-way street. As people that cover these stories, we learn a lot about the athletes, and the athletes are learning a lot about life. Our topics today were handpicked for this back-to-school episode. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be a two-way learning street. And if you are someone of capable mind, capable thinking, the learning process never stops. So let's learn a little bit. Let's teach a little bit. Let's dive on in. You know who I'll be joined by, the crew, the Ball Hog Sports Talk crew. My man, ETP Ellis, the producer, and the Big Flow Show will be in the building. So make sure that you got your seatbelts nice and locked. There's my man, the Big Flow Show. There's ETP Ellis, the producer, as
What's
promised.
Good, America?
What's
good? Bright and early, coming to you live,
nice and early. What's up, ETP?
What's up?
Yeah, that sounded like you know you ain't ready for the early edition right there. Like,
on Pacific Coast time, baby.
It's late. It's late for me, baby. I don't sleep.
Your early is my late.
He's still up. We got a club about to close. You got to go.
That's philosophical. I like that. Your early is my late. I am happy to have you guys here for the back to school edition. Y'all know how it is, man. It's the first week of school. Everybody got the new clothes. Everybody got the new do. Everybody's got to figure out what their new routine is going to be in the morning. But after 2 years, let's call it 20 months of us being stuck in the house with our kids, back to school just feels a little more powerful right now that the kids are going back to school. And let me just make sure that I bring out and point out the silver lining, because for those 20 months, we all got to do something that we would have otherwise not been able to do. Spend time with our kids, spend time with our families. And so we don't want to underestimate the power of being in close confines with our families. And we loved it. But I'm sure, like y'all, man, I'm so happy my kids going back to school. Oh, man, I am happy. And I am happy that we get to have this edition because it's a lot to dive into. I see you got the back to school haircut, my man, Big Flo. You got it. You and I cut mine off too. You know what I mean? ETP, you still look like you in the summer. You got the beard.
I'm always in school, baby. If that's what we're going, I'm always in school.
Like college, this is like first day of school, college. Like I didn't care.
Did y'all put out your clothes the night before? The first day of school, you put out your clothes the night before that first day of school?
Of course,
I had a big brother that was a bully, so if I had to put my clothes out, he'd have rocked my shit and walked away with it. So, Joe, I still haven't forgiven you for how you used to try to get me like that. So I used to go to a private school, and I had to wear like slacks and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be ironing my stuff. I get it out. I'll come out the shower and he'd be like, thanks. And he'll have my stuff. He was mad. He was mad I was bigger than him, man. So now I'm scrambling because I got to catch a bus, a train, and then another bus to get to school. And I got no more clothes. Because, you only got like one fit to work. So,
yeah, man. Hey, it made you a better person, man. Thanks, Joe. Joel is your big brother name?
My brother's name is Joe, yeah.
Thanks, Joe, for making him tougher, man. That made you, it primed you for Ball Hawk Sports Talk, baby. ETP, you got the clothes out the night
my stuff out the hamper. Now, what? You taught me.
Who needs to prep now? I go straight out the hamper. ETP, did you used to prep your clothes the night before first day of school, man? Get all into it?
Yeah, man. The biggest memory was like you put out all your clothes and you think it's all set. You got a sweater, you got all the nice stuff, and then it's hot the first day of school and you're just dying in those. Like you want to wear every layer, but it just, at the end of the school day, it all ends up in your backpack because you're playing basketball. It's all crumpled up. So.
Yeah, that in Florida, we didn't have them type of problems, man. But the haircut thing was big. The barbershop, the line was around the corner of the barbershop. And that's when it felt real. Like, all right, these kids really they about to go back to school, man, because the barbershop was packed. I love the first day of school, man. That was always, I'm a fashion guy. And that was, my sisters, 3 sisters, shout out to my sisters, would help me pick out what the first, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Both of my sons are going to new schools this year, so even more of an opportunity. I'll call it an opportunity, man. But there's a lot of pressure on that first day of school.
They got uniforms, or are they regular
clothes? Both have uniforms, but with it varies. It's not like the old days. Private school back in the old days meant that it was a stuffy collar shirt, the same pants, and some penny loafers. They don't do that no more, man. They let you rock sneakers. So yeah.
So, we had 6th through 8th. I had a uniform. So trying to get the little freedom. When I hit public school sophomore year, man, I was like, whoa, this is a decision I haven't had to make since the 5th grade.
What to wear?
Well, because
especially coming from private school, because you'd have messed up that decision, brother. You'd have been,
You didn't. I went to my private school. I went to high school was all boys. I really didn't care what I mean. As long as there was no mustard on it, you didn't care. But when you hit public school, you had the girls and you had the full gamut. You could do whatever you wanted to do. It was too big of a decision for me. And then my brother had to ruin it.
Your brother had to ruin it. Well, I wanted to make sure we got that out. And please, like we say every week, like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. And please subscribe in the podcast world. For our live audience, feel free to share. Are you extra elated after 20 months of having the kids in the house that you now are embarking on a back to school routine? Your kids are getting out of the house. What did you do this week? The extra time, like yesterday after I dropped the kids off, I had time to myself. You don't know how long it's been since I had time to myself. Normally I got, I'm doing a Zoom meeting while telling them, hey, be quiet back there. But I had time to myself. It felt good. So please share. It is a new experience that was an old experience, but I think an experience that we are no longer going to take for granted, because this back to school week is extra special because of the 20 months that we spent, this pandemic that has been looming over us. And I segue that into our topics today.
Man, 20 months. You keep saying 20 months.
20 months. 20 months, man. We did a bid.
Still dealing with this stuff.
We did a bid. We're still dealing with it, but yes, we are absolutely still dealing with it. Wear your mask, people.
It's different out here, man. We have a statewide mandate again to wear masks. People don't care. If you don't have a mask on, they don't say nothing to you. They don't care. They're just over it. If I get it and I die, just get it and die. Shit.
Yeah, that's when you know you're over it. I'm not there yet. I'm good. I'm gonna wear my mask. I'm good. I'm trying to stay on this side of the soil for a few more mango seasons. I want to see my boys put some work in before I go.
South Florida statement, baby.
Yeah, a few more mango seasons.
I was like, how many mango seasons in a year?
One.
That's right. We don't grow mangoes in New England.
Hey, a few more mango seasons, baby. But that helps me segue into this week's topics, because in those 20 months, we've dealt with a lot of, let's call it mental anguish. People have had to struggle with burying loved ones. People have had to struggle with losing jobs. People have had to struggle with several natural disasters while also dealing with a pandemic. And mental health seems to be a topic that at one point, especially in the Black community, was taboo. Oh, that boy need help. Yeah, you just don't talk about it, man. You just, you did not go get clinical, professional help in the Black community because it was looked at so taboo. Now, not as much. Same thing was true in sports because mental health and your ability to show resolve was looked at as sort of the DNA to be considered a great athlete. It was looked at as a part of the fabric of being a great athlete. But now, fast forward in 2021, and your mental health and your anxiety around competition, your inability to fight through some of the challenges of emotional up and downs, your fear of the media and not knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say it, those things, what used to be taboo in sports, is now at the center of the sports conversation. Yet again, Naomi Osaka, in a Grand Slam, we talked about it in the French Open, now it's the US Open, is saying that she's going to take a break from the sport, which she calls a profession, because of her mental health. She was ousted earlier than everyone expected. She lost to a 19-year-old Canadian who is ranked very low in the world. And
she's playing in the final this
she is playing in the final. Shout out. Back to school is a youth movement, man. We got 2 teenagers playing in the US Open final. Shout out to both of them, an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old. So there is a youth movement. But Naomi Osaka, while that should be the topic, that should absolutely be the topic. Canadian young lady, shout out to her. Layla Fernandez is her name. Beat Naomi Osaka. That should be the topic. Naomi Osaka is playing Emma. How do you say her last name?
Raducanu.
Raducanu. There you go. That should be the topic. The fact that I can't even pronounce their names, right? These are unknown, new teen phenoms. That should be the topic.
How old is Naomi Osaka?
20. I think she's 23, 24.
I was going to say 23. Yeah. No, she ain't no teenager, though. By definition. She's out of the teenage years. She's supposed to be.
Remember what she did on her 19th birthday.
She absolutely did. But we're not talking about her 19th birthday. We're talking about mental health because of her. Because again, she's decided, and she's now made this almost an indefinite leave. She's gonna take a leave of absence because of her mental health. And I don't know what this used to be something that you would never talk about. Can you imagine? I didn't even want to say to Michael Jordan, but Naomi Osaka, rewind just a few short months. We had all sort of penciled her in to possibly be the greatest ever because of her dominance at such an early age. No real health issues right now. What we thought was mental toughness, her fortitude, her ability to navigate the challenges, the unbelievable match in the US Open against Serena. We thought we had penciled her in to be the greatest ever. Could you imagine some of the other greatest of evers, greatest of all times, the ones that we talked about, saying that they need to take an indefinite leave of absence because of the anxiety around competing? She said that when she wins, it feels like, barely satisfied. When she loses, she's got this emotional reaction. And in the match, which we're describing, she lost to Layla Fernandez. She had at least two childish, petulant responses. And now she says she's going to take a leave of absence indefinitely because of her mental health. I don't know, man. I love that it's no longer taboo that we're talking about mental health and protecting your own mental health. Rory McIlroy, the golfer, who also was a young phenom, came out and spoke on her behalf and celebrated her. A lot of people come out and celebrate her. Michael Johnson, who was my favorite track star of all time, U.S. Olympian of all time, came out and supported her. But I just struggle with it because isn't that a part of it?
Yes. You got to be tough, man. It's part of it. It's got to be a chink in your armor. If your mental health is a problem, some people's physical health, people get injured all the time. Like AD, He's made out of paper mache. He get hurt all the time. We had to knock him for that, right? You got to work to get harder.
Anthony Davis's people just notice there's only one of the three that keep on calling you paper and shade, and it's not me, it's not ETP, it's the gentleman in the middle that goes by the Big Flow show. But continue. That man, a large man. He see you, bro. I hope he might want all the smoke.
You keep interrupting me, man.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
I'm just joking. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we hold that against him. If people can't stay healthy. And the mental health is, if we're trying to treat that just like a normal injury, then we got to hold it against people too. And I want to love Naomi Osaka, and I want to celebrate her. She's Haitian, like, y'all can't even argue about that and all this stuff. I want her to do great and all these different things, but it comes across soft, man. I mean, like, you just lost this thing to the 19-year-old, and you're all, I want to take away. Man, there's a lot of people that go through a lot of stuff. She's not the only person that's going through a lot of stress. There's a lot of people that you could consider what they're doing mental health issues. And she's just saying, I want to go. I don't know, man. I hate to do it because I'm not a psychologist. I can't diagnose her. I can't tell what she's going through. But it comes across as soft to me.
But what do you think? I mean, what do you think I personally think before the USC Open even started, I was like, I could tell. I was like, she needs to take some time away. This is too much for her.
Indication? What gave you that indication?
Just the way that what happened with the French Open when she didn't want to talk to the media, when she withdrew, she got smacked in the Olympics and she was favored to win it. And just based on the way she was playing, she wasn't performing. So when US Open started, before the US Open, I was of the mind that she needs to take some time off because she's not delivering on the court. And clearly it's compromising her ability to achieve greatness. But that being said, it's a tough situation because what's the alternative, right? Like, she clearly needs to regroup. She needs to get her stuff back together. It's not so much of how she's handling press conferences. She's getting mocked, right? In the US Open, she played the first round. She won. Of course, she's supposed to win. She's second ranked in the world. Second round, she got a bye because of a withdrawal. And then she got beat by an 18-year-old.
You're doing that pressure. She's supposed to win. That's why she quit, because of people like you putting all that pressure on her success.
Hey, well, that's the price of greatness, right? Like, there are expectations.
You fell into my trap. That's my thing. That's why I think it's soft. But you about to jock her. You about to go.
No, I'm not.
Just put the pressure.
What all I'm saying is she clearly needs to take a break because carting her out and her trying to muscle through it is not working. She got waxed in the Olympics. She got waxed in the US Open. She's clearly great. And the tough part about it is her entry into fame came like the way she won her first, she won the US Open and the whole thing with Serena, and Serena kind of lost her composure and she was crying both of them were crying on the podium after they won. It was a really tough way for her to enter stardom. But that being said, she can't, there's no alternative. What's the alternative? We could talk about if she's soft or not, but what's the alternative? She kind of has to step away and regroup, and she's young, and hopefully she gets back on track.
I'll give you the alternative. Play through it. Play through it.
Can't. But she has proven
you are allowed to have a slump. You're allowed to have a lull. You're allowed to get your butt kicked and figure it out on the tennis court. I've watched several of the people that we consider the greats have slumps. Tiger Woods, you can say what you want to say about Tiger Woods. He had the ultimate slump. He played through it.
Years of slump and played through it.
Play through it. Like that, to me, that's the alternative. Now, you and I both are admitting here live on the Ball Hog Sports Talk that we are not trained. We are not trained to give any clinical diagnosis. So I don't know how severe it is, but as she describes it, what it sounds like to me when she says, oh, when I win, it's but when I lose, there's this really emotional reaction. It's like all the greats say that. It's not their love of winning, it's their fear of losing that drives them. So many greats have said that. As she's describing it, it sounds like normal. And again, I'm not trained. But the alternative to taking time off is play through it. Get your butt kicked and be so mad that you got your butt kicked. You keep on working. You keep on figuring out how to tweak the serve, how to make sure your backhand's a little bit better, make sure your feet are better, right? You play through it. You get your butt absolutely kicked and hate it, despise it, and keep on playing. That's the alternative to me. But maybe I am showing the fact that I am old head when saying this. But I'm fine with being an old head because so many other greats have done it. They've played through it.
Right. So you're basically saying physical health and mental health are very different. Then they should.
I'm saying they're the same
way.
No.
If they're the same, should you play on a torn hamstring? Should you play on?
I think you should play. I think you should play injured. Bicep? I think you should play. No, I'm sorry. You should play hurt. You shouldn't play injured. Torn hamstring, no. Sore hamstring, yes.
Okay.
So I think there's a difference, and maybe in a nuanced way, that's really what you're challenging me on is from a mental health standpoint, is she hurt or is she injured? I don't know. What I'm saying is that the two are connected, the mental and the physical, because what she's describing sounds like her mental roller coaster. This peak and valley. She's now in the valley of her mental health, her mental health scenario, the circumstance of her mental health. But people have played through that valley. But I think it has something to do with physically she's not playing the way she would want to play. So those two to me are interconnected. They can't. That's just. And right. I might be wrong.
But you're basically saying she's mentally hurt, not mentally injured. Like that's your position on
it.
Yes. You know, when you
for me as a fan, like I don't want to see her go out and get waxed. Like I want to see her perform at peak.
Get waxed, but that's part of the deal. You put yourself out there and you might get beat. I think you know.
So, but why can't she be injured?
Like if you hurt your shoulder, they're going to sometimes tell you, "Hey, man, if you go out there, you're going to get further damage, or they're going to give you, or it's a matter of pain tolerance, right?" And so I think this is a matter of pain tolerance. I don't know the level of injury that it's going to get any worse, but I think
why not?
At the end of the day, it's pain tolerance. Can she go out there and tolerate the pain? And if she can't, again, we get kind of judged with it. We should talk about what's my man from the Bulls, Chicago guy with Bulls, and he went to the Knicks, Derrick Rose. They say he has a very low pain tolerance. So a little bit of an ankle tweak, he's done. He can't play through it. People are like, man, he's soft. He can't do it. So mental health. What B said was exactly right. Everybody goes through all that stuff. Everybody has a situation like that. I apologize for my monster dog in the background, but everyone goes through those situations where they're going to have tough times. It's going to be hard. It's hard for everybody to get beat. It's hard for everyone to lose. But if you can't get back up, she's like a front runner. You know what I mean? Like when I'm doing great, you know, it's okay. But then as soon as I learn, my pain, my head, and this, and again, I hate to do this because she could be going through something worse, but it keeps coming up.
No, you hate to do it because she hates you.
Because she Haitians too. And I want to support her, but it's just at some point it's like, shit, okay, you're gonna lose. Just do your interview. Don't lean into it. I feel like she's just so focused. Well, I'm not winning. There's got to be something wrong. Just play through it. Be tough. If you want to be great, or just retire and just say, forget it. She got a lot of money. Just say, forget it. I'm no longer here. But what do you keep getting on here talking about? Like, I don't like the wins that much and a lot of shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
she's decided to step away. Like that's I think.
Cool. Go ahead.
But look, man, you don't get. I'll go even further, ETP, because I get it. Like and people have come out supporting her. Some of the greats. Tom Brady has even voiced his support of Osaka and Simone Biles. All right, good. I almost come behind it too.
It's going to be a soundbite. Tom Brady supports Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, my bad. That was Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles has garnered the support of Tom Brady. So some of the GOATs are coming out and speaking on their behalf. But I think they're doing so because they understand it's politically correct to do so in these days. Here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk, I'm not really that concerned about being politically correct. I feel like we got to deal with the topics and analyze them. And from a pure analyst standpoint, it seems as though what she's going through, we all go through. Her job happens to be tennis. I'm a lawyer, but some of my function in law is to bring in business. That's sales. So I go through a low where I've heard a lot of no's, and I got to figure out, I got to look in the mirror and be like, hey, man, what am I not doing? Why am I not connecting? Why did I bring in that business? We all go through that. I can't step away from it. It's my job. A part of my job is to go through the challenges of failure. A part of her job is to go through the challenges of failure.
Yeah. At what point, I guess at what I always look at it like at what is the breaking point where you would say, you know what? She, like you said, you don't play injured because it can make the ailment worse, or it could terminate your career. At what point on the mental health side would you give that same perspective?
Like, I don't know. And that's the
like
part.
If she committed suicide, like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's levels that it's going to go to, right? And so if there's some level of awareness, I'm not saying that she should step away, but I could also recognize that if people are like, look, we're going to a point of no return, you need to step back, regroup, and then you can re-enter.
Right.
I can't necessarily, it's just hard for me to assume that mental health is just mentally hurt, not mentally injured, because we've seen that story end really badly.
Very fair, very fair. And again, I go back to my initial admission. I'm not qualified to say that. And in a week, and I should have done this, man. Maybe we'll do it at the very end. My man, not my man, but I knew him. I mean, not name drop like he's best friends, but Michael K. Williams lost his life today, earlier this week. The gentleman who played my favorite character was Chalky White. I like that. And no, it was in Boardwalk Empire. He played Chalky White, but he also played Omar in The Wire. That was the big one. And he lost his life. Overdosed, is allegedly overdosed. They found drug paraphernalia, and I know that he had struggled back and forth with drug abuse throughout his life. And I bring that up here because you hit the nail on the head when it comes to mental health versus mental injuries. What's the point of no return? I don't know, man. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem like she's there. And I'm not trained to spot what that point of no return is. I don't think she's anywhere close to that. And I hope she's nowhere close to that. I hope she never gets anywhere close to that.
You never know. You're right.
Yeah. And I pray that she gets nowhere close to that. But I will say, as she's describing the very bland feeling of satisfaction that she has when she wins versus the stark, painful reaction to a loss. So many great athletes have described it that way, man.
Everyone, all the greats.
So you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just,
I guess it's just is that one element of it. But no, I mean your point is valid, right? Like at the end of the day, everybody has to figure out how they muscle through whatever is preventing them from succeeding physically, mentally, or both, right?
Right.
So, but I guess I speak as a fan. Like I want to see her. I don't want to see a mismatch. I don't want to see people getting blown out. I've seen her greatness. I saw her live when she won the US Open against Serena. I've been rooting for her ever since. So I want to see her as a fan. I want to see her in peak performance. You saw her live
when she played who?
Serena.
In the what?
Serena Appleball.
And the final, US Open final.
Yeah, you tried to just walk by that. I wasn't there. Were you there? Big Flow show? You weren't? All right.
Because y'all got busier schedules. Flying all over the place.
He wasn't doing nothing that day. He just walked over.
He just dropped that one in there. Yeah, I saw.
But you remember he was one of those dudes in that track stand that was catching shagging balls. He was one of those kids.
We gotta go get replay. Let me find out.
Think about how much Serena has been through, because Serena is one of my ultimate champions, right? I think she's probably the best athlete of all times, if not just second to Jordan, but because she does it by herself. But look at how, I mean, tennis is kind of that way. Every great tennis player has some goofy upsets, or you can't believe they lost, they left early.
Yeah.
And Serena battles back and she wins. And then she goes through a slump where you see she's losing, you don't know what's going on. And you can see the pain and the suffering when she's going through an interview and she has her meltdown moments and some different things. And she battles back and she wins. I just feel like maybe because she caught the success. I don't know, because Serena got success early too. But I think almost like Naomi wasn't really prepared for the success to the level that she was. She came on the scene, boom. All of a sudden she's winning.
Yeah.
And now she gets to the top. And it's like careful what you wish for, right? Yeah. Like you want the smoke, you're out here, you're winning, you're being celebrated, everyone loves you, and you're doing great, and you're lighting, Olympic torches or whatever. And it's too much. The fame is just too much for you.
Yeah. Serena also had
she's
Venus.
not going through anything that other people haven't gone through. I refuse. I've seen the pain on Serena's face when she's in the interviews. I've seen her going through it where she's barely holding herself together.
Yeah.
And she plays through it and she comes back. And that's why she's the greatest. So it's fine if she falls off and she has to take some time off. She's got to do whatever, but it goes on her resume.
ETP, you make a great point. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Big Flow Show, but ETP makes a great point. He said that Serena has always had Venus. So maybe she doesn't feel like she was going through it alone. I'll say this. It seems as though – sorry, go ahead.
Naomi, call me. You got me. You got me. I'm with you. We Haitian. Let's go.
I'll say this. It does seem like Naomi Osaka and I'll even say Simone Biles. They're in a sports world that has coddled them such that this is okay. Serena entered a sports world that hated her. She entered a sport that was predominantly white as a black girl from Compton whose coach knew as much about tennis as I do, yet got her to greatness through trial and error. Mm-hmm. So because she entered a tough, cold, hard world, it seems as though she was more prepared to deal with the ups and downs, both physical and mental, of tennis or of being considered one of the greats. And Naomi Osaka and the Simone Biles of the world, they didn't enter that. They came into a sports world that was far more accommodating, nurturing, and I don't know. I guess I'm just an old man. I'm an old fart. I kind of like the old way where like, all right, cool. Yeah, you upset. Fine. Keep playing. And I'll leave it. I'll give you guys last word, but I'll leave it here because they're not alone. And I say they because I'm putting Simone Biles in this too, right? The twisties in the Olympics, right? She talked about her mental health, and so now Naomi Osaka as well. But Ben Stokes, who is the top cricket player, one of the top cricket players in the world, plays in England, 30 years old. He says he's going to take an indefinite break away from the sport. So many other athletes are now coming out and supporting this mental health decision, whether it be Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, Ben Stokes. In this episode, Back to School, it's a two-way learning street. And I'm out here publicly admitting that I don't know enough about this to make a definitive statement, but it's a two-way learning street. I'm trying to learn it while also asking the right questions. I'll leave it to you guys to close it up before we move on to the next topic. ETP, I'll start with you.
I just think we're in this really uncertain time, right? The fact that it's good that mental health is being addressed and being recognized, but then it is compromising the point of sports competition, right? Like play through it, be the alpha, succeed. So hopefully we'll find a balance. I do think that we're starting to see some elements of it that are feeling extreme, but at the end of the day, like you both said, you don't know what anybody's going through specifically. As a fan, I want to make sure everybody is at their top level of performance, and hopefully everybody gets back on track and we can still see great sports.
I look at sports as the ultimate, mirroring of life, and you learn so much from sports. Last night my daughter had a volleyball game. They won, and in the first game set, I don't know how you call it volleyball, but whatever. The first game,
you gotta learn that.
Okay, I keep asking people just tell me to pick one, but I just first game of the match. They won both of them, but my daughter didn't play as well. She had some stuff. She kind of came out. So after the game, they're winning, and here's my daughter. She's crying. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with you? You guys just won. She's like, I played bad in the first game, and they started to come back because of my mistakes. And I said to her, listen, this is part of it, right? At the end of the day, you came back, you played the second game, and you won. You won both. You didn't cost them the game. This is part of it. This is the thing. So I'm trying to curb the emotion of a 15-year-old girl. Shout out, happy belated birthday to my daughter. She was just turned 15 on the 8th. But
happy birthday.
I'm trying to teach her and train her on how she should view things emotionally and how she should handle it. Like, you guys won, your team won. So first of all, you need to be happy because your team won. You're a part of that. Now, don't think of self and just think of the few mistakes that you made. The team had success. Secondly, you learned from it. You came back. You guys won. You played good in the second game, and things are better. But don't let that emotion ruin it where you're going to come out and you have to be perfect. That's part of the sport. You're going to have good games and bad games. But I'm trying to kind of curb and teach her. So when I think of that, I want to be able to, point her towards role models of people like, look, this person had a rough time because she's just feeling it out. She hasn't been a lifelong athlete, right? She's feeling it out. She's trying to understand and process in her head, how do I feel about these things? Am I supposed to be sad when I do bad? Am I supposed to? And I just kind of feel like with Naomi Osaka, it's a front running type mentality that we have now where, hey, things are going good. These people are great and things are fine, whatever. But then once things get bad, you lose, you fall apart, you fall to pieces. And if it is a mental health issue she has, I think part of the treatment and the example for others is to realize like you can't let that be where your brain goes. You can't focus on the negative. You got to focus on the positive and coming back and fighting forward. That's what sports is all about. That's why we all love it. It's such a cheesy story when you think of it, but that's why we all love sports. And that's the message I want to send to my daughter. And that's the message that I hope that someone sends to Naomi that she has, if she can get a Venus or Serena or whoever she can get to give her that like, look, man, this is part of the smoke that you asked for. And this is what makes you great is how you respond to this. We just can't be like, well, I'm going to walk away. I've lost again. I'm embarrassing myself, whatever. And that's what it smells like to me. And I could be wrong, as we keep saying, we're not professionals, but that's what it smells like to me. So I hope she can get it together and for her own good and her own long-term mental health.
Look, everybody, good morning. Happy early morning. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Success and Celebration, here with the Big Flow Show and ETP Els, the producer. Like we ask you every week, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe in the podcast world. Both of you guys put it so eloquently. We were talking about mental health and Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles and Ben Stokes, the cricket player. And you put it very eloquently. And as you describe how you're helping your daughter get through that moment, it dawned on me that the difference is simply like that's a team sport versus an individual sport. And in a team sport, it's always got to be team first, then me. But in these individual sports, they don't have that. And so it's an interesting dynamic, and we'll see. I wish Naomi Osaka, Simone Biles, Ben Stokes, anybody struggling with anything that they would consider a mental health issue, I wish them nothing but the best. And in this episode, Back to School, I hope we can learn from the lessons therein, but also I hope that they can learn from the lessons that have been set before them, because so many great athletes have struggled and fought through it. How many times you heard the story about Michael Jordan got cut from his team? We use that. We use that, right? Like, what if you'd got cut and just decided, you know what, I'm done. Mentally, I can't believe he cut me. I need to take a break. And so I transition to our next topic by saying, let's continue to learn from each other. In this back to school episode, we also learned a few things about the NFL, because the NFL is back. For those who still watch it, I know some don't. I'm with Cap. The group says they shall not and will not ever watch it again until they do right by Cap, which I think that window is closed.
Is that still a thing? That's a
thing. That's a thing. There's people out there that still do not watch the NFL, and they are proud to say that.
Still want him to get a ride.
They say Cap will be 70 years old. I ain't watching till Cap.
I ain't watching till Cap get a shot.
I think Cap chilling, man. I don't know what to tell y'all. Cap chilling.
I look, and we're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get on it. But Cam Newton gotta be like, yo, y'all roll for Cap like that. I just got cut. And nobody even blinked an eye. But this week in the NFL, seeing it is back. The season opener was last night. We had the Dallas Cowgirls. I'm sorry, I had to say that. Dallas Cowboys versus the Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And spoiler alert, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. If you had it recorded and you're in a dungeon, take 20 seconds away from the show right now.
No,
okay.
Listen, that's not you.
Tampa Bay won in walk-off fashion with a walk-off field goal. Great game. Both quarterbacks played well. Tom Brady had 2 interceptions, but they were. I think that they got to put an asterisk next to some of these interceptions. They go this asterisk again because, I mean, the first interception hit right off Leonard Fournette's face. The second one was a Hail Mary right before the half, and even Dak Prescott's interception. He threw an interception, but it was right in CeeDee Lamb's hands. But I digress, as I'm trying to teach my son how to play quarterback. Great game. Great game by everybody. I think that the NFL won when it comes to you put a product out there and hope that it returns what you wanted to return. The eyeballs were glued to the TV. I couldn't go to sleep and needed to go to sleep because we were doing an early show, but I couldn't. I had to watch it. I'll start quickly. Did you guys watch the game? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What'd you think about, is Dak Prescott back? No preseason play whatsoever, yet he looked like there was no rust after his foot injury. And Tom Brady, I don't know how that man keep getting better with time, but my God, that man is good. What do you guys think about it? The quick version before we get into some more of the nitty gritty.
I mean, 400 yards. I think both of them threw for 400 yards. Both of the quarterbacks. Dak. I think going into it, there was all this assumptions that the Cowboys were just gonna, like, they had no business opening up the season. So I got to give it to Dak.
That's halfway true.
To the Cowboys.
That's halfway true. Their
no
defense has no business. Offense definitely has business, but that defense shouldn't be in the NFL. It was
a game. It was a game, and I don't think anybody assumed that it was going to be a game. So I give it up. Hopefully, the Cowboys, they've had a long journey of terrible seasons, but the Bucks. I thought going in. I thought coming out of the first game, that 17-0 was going to get crossed off, but it's making for it's a good way to start the season. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. What did you think about it?
Game. I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. I love watching Dallas lose. You know what I mean? So they come out there, get that smoke, and they got it. Tom Brady, you're right. I don't know what's going on, man. Giselle, I don't know what you do for this man to keep him so vibrant and fresh. But I gotta shout her out, man. I don't know. She does. Somebody has to get the credit. I don't know what's going on with this man. He definitely not mentally weak. He doesn't. I mean, he supported. Look, your girlfriend came in there. Look, she threw me off a little bit. But at the end of the day,
my
man,
dog, not my girlfriend.
Oh, my bad. I thought y'all, what I'm saying, this is supposed to be a family show, but we turned it around a little bit. I just see the tongue come in. I didn't know what was going on. But at the end of the day, I just thought it was a great game, a great way to start the season. I still think it's kind of weird you start the NFL on Thursday. That's like the off day. It's supposed to start on a Sunday, but okay, whatever. You come out there, make sure the whole world get to watch Dallas lose, so it was good.
Yeah, and not only did we see the GOAT, because there was an argument this week that he's the GOAT of all GOATs, Tom Brady, but I think the argument that I don't see too many sensible people that can say he's not the greatest of all time in football. And that's tough for me because I can't stomach him. I can't stand Tom Brady.
You came around.
I mean, it's how do you? I don't believe it, but I give. So let me just put that out. I don't necessarily believe it. 10 seconds. Yeah. I don't believe that. I wouldn't make that statement, but I give full credibility to those who do. All right, because how could I not? Right, man, I got 7 rings.
2021.
You were gonna stick with it until I questioned you.
Yeah, you're right. You had to remind me what my real beliefs were.
He just poked him a little. And
never mind.
Yeah,
he's right.
Hey, believe me, I was looking for an exit door because I can't stand Tom Brady. I was looking for the exit door, so thank you for that. But I will say this, man. Tom Brady also this week made headlines because he said that basically with these new rules, they're penalizing defensive players for offensive mistakes. I thought that was wild for him to say because they're protecting the quarterback. And I like that because I'm trying to teach my sons how to play quarterback. I like that the rules are protecting him, but he's got a point there that if the quarterback puts the ball in a position where the receiver is in harm's way, that's a bit of a placement issue. Quarterback placement issue, not a defensive, you need to learn how to tackle, right? Because the defender is trying to protect himself too. And I've said this forever. It's like, how does a defender hit an offensive player coming full speed, catching the ball in the perfect place, right? Because what we've said with these new rules is that offense is more important than defense. I've said that forever, but I might be biased. I was on offense. But the new rules support that. And here's Tom Brady, the greatest of all times, at least at quarterback, according to some people.
Sources
say. But here's Tom Brady saying that. I thought that was actually that should have been the biggest news of all sports of all week. How can Tom Brady say that when A, he's benefiting from it greatly, but B, he's still in the mix of quarterbacks, and if anybody in the NFL has any influence on rule changes, it would be Tom Brady.
Yeah. I mean, the flip side of it, though, is he's saying that to remove the advantage, like, because he's somebody that doesn't make those mistakes, right? He's arguably, according to sources, allegedly the greatest of all time. So
some would say.
But
if he's calling it out and trying to what's that?
Our live audience member, Mike Zarn, I like that, says maybe the greatest at this time. I'll go with that one. He's the greatest at this time. Go ahead.
He was the greatest last night.
Right.
The problem is his time been 21 years.
Greatest in the stadium, and he was the greatest in the stadium.
Playing for 21 years. I'm so tired of you, bro. But anyway, go ahead. I digress. Go ahead, Ellis.
No, I'm saying it could be strategic, right? Because he's at an elite level where if it's allowing these lesser players, right? Offensive linemen, quarterbacks, running backs, missing blocks, throwing passes in the wrong places. He's trying to, he's trying to address the fact that it's too wide open so that mistakes are being allowed. Then it gives him the advantage if they try to constrain it a little bit because he's going to thread that needle. He's going to put things in the right place. He's going to, his line. I mean, they signed 22, all 22 starters came back almost exclusively because Tom Brady knows how to make compromises to make sure that the money's there and that everybody's going to believe in him and that the people around him are going to do their job.
I think this is a perfect time to just disclose that ETP, Ellis the producer, is from Boston. He's a big Patriots fan because
I can't stand Tom Brady.
Oh, you can't stand Tom Brady. I was about to say because you like that. You just described that like you gave him the power to do a Jedi mind trick. Like he's just saying that because he's going to benefit from it as well. My bad, Big Flo. What'd you have for us?
As a father of a receiver, I do like the idea of all these penalties to keep your hands off my son. But I'd be honest with you, I've agreed. I have been saying what Tom said for years. I was like, you guys, at some point you need to penalize the quarterback because you're throwing me into harm's way. If we want to give all this credit to the quarterback by throwing somebody open, right? Oh, I threw him open. Well, then you put the ball where he's supposed to go, where he's going to be able to catch it. Don't put him in there where somebody has to hit him and get smacked. But I have to point out the irony is the only reason why he's playing for his 22nd season or 20, whatever, how many seasons he's had, is because of these rule changes. The same docket, you got the bills and stuff in Congress that gives you the Relief Act, and then they throw all the same under the same bill that said you can't hit anybody coming across the middle. It's the same thing that makes you can't touch him, and that's the reason why he's still in the NFL. So you might repeal the whole act. It's not just one rule that was on there. So Tom, understand that you're standing still in that backfield, that thing, and nobody can touch you, and that's why you can still play. That's the same reason why they can't touch a receiver. So I don't know. Maybe we should penalize offensive line. I mean, what's the alternative? Are we celebrating bad blocking because you can't touch the guy low and you can't touch his helmet, or it's a penalty? It's the same thing there. So although I agree with him, coming from him sounds funny because he benefits from those same type of rules.
It's the source. Look, I play receiver, which is why I don't want my sons to ever play that because my brain cells are scattered across America. I ain't got brain damage.
Save that for when I'm not here. Sometimes,
right? But the rules have changed though. When I played it, it was in Neanderthals game, right? And the only recourse that we had as receivers is the crackback block.
Smell salt.
No, but you would get somebody back like, all right, I'm gonna catch you on these sweeps, and you ain't gonna be looking. But even that's been taken out of the game. So they made the game so much safer for everyone. It's just weird that Tom Brady, who some people allegedly sometimes on Tuesdays call him the best ever, would be the one that's undermining these new rules. So we shall see. In the spirit of, because in this episode, Back to School, we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about the NFL, learning a lot about what is going to be of these teams. Everyone knows that the Cleveland Browns is the favorite to win the Super Bowl. But there's another team, you see how I said that without smiling. Yeah, look, y'all didn't laugh. Y'all didn't say nothing. Yes, dog pound. It's a dog pound year. But there's another team in that division, the Ravens. And they done lost every running back known to mankind. Every single running back that lines up for the Ravens gets hurt. Right? Ravens, for RB for Ravens Blues, baby. Every RB gets hurt. And they have now signed Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, and they're thinking about signing OJ. I joke, but that mean look at these names who they signed.
3 snaps left in the
OJ got at least a good one. Like, I just need you to get me there, baby. Student body right, OJ. We're gonna go one of the old school plays. But they are signing these players, names from the past, running backs from the past. But is this moment, we see both sides of it. Why the running back position has become so fungible? Because they get hurt so often. They went through a whole roster of running backs, literally. They don't have any running backs left, right? But then on the flip side of it is you can find you a running back that's delivering Amazon packages right now. You can find them so quickly. And I think that Le'Veon Bell, being the poster child of holding out, I mean, he literally held out. Like, I'm good. We're not playing this season until I get my money. He might have been on to something. I do this hashtag numbers game, but when it comes to running back, it is a numbers game, and they run through them so quickly. Le'Veon Bell might have been the smart one to say, no, I need my money now because I know that in a year from now, the way the NFL is set up, they're going to show that running backs aren't important. So I need my money now. Is this saga that is haunting the Ravens locker room, is this also a narrative about the running back position going forward? I don't know what you guys think about it, but maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but they've gone through a whole list. Their entire roster of running backs is no longer available. What do? Go just call some old running backs, some of which haven't really touched the field in 2 years. Like, I don't know the last time Latavius Murray played. And yet, I mean, he's big, he's fast, and he has stayed in shape, but is it that easy? Are they essentially affirming?
There's just a shortage of running backs now. So if you guys go back on the Big Flow show, go check me out on YouTube. You'll see an episode I did with Jerome Bettis, and I asked him, I was like, is the running back position becoming marginalized not that big of a deal? He's like, no, it's actually the opposite. It's a scarcity. So there's the people there. He's like, anybody can play running back in the NFL. They'll snatch him up. But he said today's game, who was a running back before is now a linebacker. So he's like, if I was to play football today, I would be a linebacker. He's like, look at the way linebackers look now. And you start thinking about like Chicago Bears. They've got their running backs. Their linebackers all look like
the who? What team? What team?
Chicago Bears, best team in the Midwest.
They still got a team?
Best team in the Midwest. You couldn't even say that.
Best football team in Chicago.
Best team I said Chicago, right?
Allegedly.
Northwestern looked good last week. Boy. Northwestern looked good.
What he said, no, I don't know. They look good. But anyway, long story. And Illinois looked real good getting beat by East Tennessee State or whatever the heck they got beat at Barber College. But yeah, at the end of the day, he said that there's just so few running backs. He said there's so few high colleges that run a true pro style offense. He only named like Alabama, Wisconsin. Actually, I don't want to keep recruiting for these people, but it was only like 4 schools he named that truly use running back in the way in the NFL. So he's like, if a good one comes out, they're getting snatched up. And then you start looking at some of these guys that have been in the NFL for a while that are actually true running backs. They've been in there for a long time. They keep there, but he's like, everyone else is like a situational back. This guy can do this and a little bit of this, but he can't do that. So you don't have these every down backs. So then they're just cycling through them, and they're getting on to the next one because, okay, the NFL realizes when you're in the game, all you can do is this. All you can do is that. We got to get you out. So I do think it's a very strong, sought after position. Just nobody's doing it anymore because we realize you're getting hit every play. Yeah. You're getting 26, 30 carries every time. It's just not a good business decision. And with like 7-on-7 now, everybody can be a receiver. You know, one of the best running backs here in Chicago, he's going to go to Ohio State, play receiver. You know what I mean? I go catch the ball. I'm good. I can't hit you anyway.
You do see it in youth football level because remember back in our day, at the risk of sounding 150 years old, I'm Methuselah. Back in our day, everybody wanted to be in the running back line on the first day of football. Now you see it, I think, trending more people wanting to be in the wide receiver line. Quarterback line, like it's pretty clear rather quickly whether or not you can throw. And so, you know, day one, you might start on that line and coach tapping on the shoulder like, son, find another position. Most people would run to the running back line back in our day. Now, People I think are trending more to the wide receiver line. ETP, is this Ravens situation, let's call it? Because as a Browns fan, I gotta be honest with you, I'm cheering for it, but I don't want to cheer for another man's issues. But anyway, let's call it their situation. Is this just like sort of the validation that the position is forever changed and it'll never be what it used to be? They signing dudes off the street. Yes, big name dudes off the street, but
they were on the street. But they were on the street to be grabbed.
I mean, it's just it's an injury prone position, right? It's like the same thing they say, heavyweight boxing has declined because all the heavyweight champs now play left tackle in the NFL, right? Like business decisions are being made, and for all the positions on the field, the running back, like you said, you're getting in 100 car accidents in 3 hours every Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, those people that have that talent, that skill, they're going to look at other positions or other sports. So, and also the league is focused more on the passing anyway. So the money's not as much money is there for the running backs, not as much prestige, not as much, there's no Barry Sanders level, Emmitt Smith level fame happening for running backs these days. You're a supporting cast member of an air attack.
Great points. In this episode, the back to school episode, we got to get to a topic that has been weighing on my heart, and it's a different position, same sport, but there's someone doing a live show, I think right now. It's supposed to start at 8 a.m. This certain person was the league MVP at one point. This certain person plays quarterback position. This certain person is not vaccinated, but they say this had nothing to do with this certain person's lack of employment at this point. This certain person is none other than Cam Newton. Cam Newton was cut, and a former linebacker, Nikovich from the Patriots, says that Cam was being helped with the playbook by Mac Jones. Now, for those of you who don't understand why that's a big statement, Mac Jones is the rookie that they just drafted from Alabama. Cam has been in the league several years, second year in this offense, and they say that Cam was being helped by Mac. Now, Nikovich, the only thing he said was sources in the locker room. Now, sources in the locker room could be his own voices talking to him. I hope nobody's in the locker room talking like that. Nikovich, because he played for the Patriots, probably does have friends still on the team. I think it's messed up that he divulged that, but it's also messed up if it's true. Is Cam Newton, because there's been this narrative, we've talked about black quarterbacks here on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, about historically how they've painted us as not smart enough, not good leaders, not sophisticated enough to run an NFL offense. And here it is, Cam Newton, one-time NFL MVP, should have been a Super Bowl champ. They didn't win it, but put a good product out there. Has played very well. And I thought played well at times last year, but spent some time out because of COVID. There's this whole thing in there. He's not vaccinated. Let's get the 20-second dirty raw version. What do you think about it? I'll start with you, Big Flow Show. What do you think about this, man? Cam getting cut?
I think he got criticized when he was with Carolina about not really being able to do a wide open offense with them because he couldn't pick it up or something like that. So I don't know that this narrative is new. I think the people divulge it. I don't know how likable Cam is in the locker room. I mean, he's got the diva kind of attitude. I don't know. I haven't had any real – I've never met the man. I've been at 7-on-7s with him. He just kind of seems like he's kind of a little full of himself to the point where maybe somebody just wants to sell him out like that and put it out there. It's embarrassing that you were the quarterback for the whole last season, and the rookie came in and is like, look, man, man, the safety's got to come over. So I think it's terrible that's the case, but it is what it is at this point. The whole vaccination thing, I think that's people's personal choice. I don't know why you wouldn't want to get vaccinated if it's going to kick you out the league, but that's because I chose to get vaccinated. So that's a personal choice. I'm not going to criticize the man if he's got some serious fears about it. Then God bless him. God bless him and his family.
I mean, to play football, to play that position, I get it though. Maybe from a science standpoint, there are fears, but you got 300-pound dudes running at you, man, and not slow ones. They fast. You worry about a shot. You talking about a vaccine? A vaccine? You scared of a vaccine? ETB, what do you think about it, man? Like this Cam thing is crazy for me, man. And then I don't know. I know you are a Patriots fan, so try to remove yourself from your patriotism. See what I did there?
By law.
By law. And give us what's the down and dirty, man? Because I don't want to say this is the end of camp. But things like this make me think mentally he's moved on. Like
maybe he should become running back.
Yeah, they need him. They need some running backs.
Go play for the Ravens.
Run that thing.
This feels very, very much like a Carmelo Anthony situation, right? Like he wasn't at a point where he was head and shoulders above the rookie. So they're like, well, we could ride with Cam for another season, or we could actually throw this kid into the mix and he's showing us some glimpses of success. Let's get him on board. And they in either Cam was like, I'm not gonna be a second string, or the team was like, we don't want those distractions for our rookie quarterback where he's looking over his shoulder and the press continues to ask, when's Cam gonna start? But I think it does smell like a Carmelo Anthony situation where Cam is like, I'm not a backup quarterback. I'm a starter. And they're like, well, you're not a starter here, so good luck trying to find that situation. It's just a tough timing. Like, you're not going to be a quarterback that gets cut a week before the season begins and then get picked up and go start somewhere else. You'd be lucky if you're even a backup somewhere else. And if he's not willing to be a backup, then he's just going to have to sit out this year and hope that there's some openings, because there's plenty of teams that are going to need starting quarterbacks, but whether it's him or not remains to be seen.
Bill Belichick, and we've discussed it in previous shows, Bill Belichick, his legacy is up for debate now because it was so intertwined with Tom Brady. And I thought he was going to keep Cam around, not for nothing, just to have a veteran option. Bill Belichick and his hubris, he's a real arrogant dude, man. And this move is just, I think, another example of his arrogance. Sorry, I got to say this, but I got to. I'm rooting for them to lose, man. I just hope he goes out there and sees, like Jacksonville will see this year, like the Jets will see this year. It's hard, not impossible, but it's darn hard to win with a rookie quarterback. It is. And Mac Jones is probably a little more mature than most rookie quarterbacks. But the pool of sample size, who the relatively speaking comparisons are also rookie quarterbacks. I hope they lose, man. I just think that, Cam Newton did enough. I thought he did enough last year to warrant keeping him. From all accounts, he was playing well in camp. This sounds more like a personality thing. It's about Belichick. Now, there might have been something about the vaccination. Belichick says that it wasn't, so I'll take him at his word. Or the organization said it was not about his decision to remain unvaccinated, which I don't think is a smart decision, but hey, that's me. But I'm rooting for the Patriots to lose, man, because the more they lose in the post-Tom Brady era, the more we'll question whether or not it was Belichick, because Belichick was running through all kind of personnel. He could bring anybody in. He didn't really bring a lot of talent around Tom Brady. He was bringing in a lot of coordinators, or was it Brady? And we're in year 2 now. Tampa Bay looked darn good last night. In this back-to-school episode, we're going to learn.
Club if you keep talking like that.
Say again?
We're going to kick you out the Tom Brady haters club if you keep talking like that.
I know, man.
I always thought it was Belichick over Brady.
He's a convert, man.
I'm not. You always thought it was Belichick over Brady?
And now I'm starting to look like...
You right? It's like
every time Brady got hurt, the next quarterback came in, balled out, and went somewhere else and wasn't that good. Garoppolo, boom.
But they had time. But they had time. And now you put me in a tough spot because now I'm defending Tom Brady. But they had Tom Brady still in the locker room. They had Tom Brady to learn from.
Calling plays, they sat cheating, looking up, deflating balls,
practice film, all
kind of stuff. But now they got Mac Jones.
We got to get out of here, y'all. But let's go out on this, man. let's talk about this college football being back. HBCUs, we saw the Jackson State University playing on primetime television because of a man named Primetime. They were playing FAMU, which in Tallahassee, as a Florida boy, I know all too well. My mom went to Bethune, so I was on the other side of that war. But it was good to see FAMU get a primetime spot because of primetime against Jackson State University. It was a great game, and the ratings beat some Power 5 teams. We've all been saying that all the HBCUs need is a platform, an opportunity, and love or hate Dion, but the platform and opportunity is there. And the onlookers, the viewers, the HBCU grads, those that have been advocating for this moment, they stepped up in a big way, and the ratings were better than like the Purdue game, like big Power 5 schools. So is this the moment that we've all been waiting for? In this back-to-school episode, did we learn something about giving HBCUs the platform and seeing what viewership does when the HBCUs have their time in the sun?
I think that the pandemic really helped HBCUs because they moved their season to the spring. We were kind of hungry for stuff, and we watched it, realized it was good football. I think that the NFL guys going into the HBCUs and coaching and not winning and not dominating as much as you think that they would brought some credibility back to the program, saying, hey, this is not a walk in the park league. And people are like, man, this is good football. Let's watch it. So shout out to the stations for keeping them on TV and giving them an opportunity. And they're showing you that they can get better ratings. So I think it's kind of everything just kind of fell into place and worked out for the best, but there's definitely a movement going on, and I think it's a good thing.
Did you watch it? I know we all have conflicts.
I watched a little bit of the game with what's his name was coaching. Eddie George was coaching. I watched
the Tennessee State game. Yeah,
I watched about a quarter of that.
So he lost, I think, Grambling. Yeah, they lost, not he. ETP, what did you think about it? First, did you watch the game? Did you watch any of the game? FAMU, Jackson State.
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it this week, but we'll see what's coming up. But I think it's interesting. Yeah, I was the one person watching Purdue, Iowa State, or Oregon State. No, but I mean, if the football product, it's competitive, right? Like now we're starting to see that there is a lot more focus. There's a lot of talent that's going to play at these historically Black colleges and universities, which is starting to make it feel a little bit more balanced, where the balance of power is shifting potentially, where there's exciting football across the board. Plus, HBCU's got a better entertainment package. There's no halftime show in a Power 5 school that could touch any of, Grambling or any Southern. The Bayou Classic's always been fun, and that's the one time there's been the showcase of Black colleges and universities in terms of the football season. And now that they can get it more throughout the season, it's exciting. I like to see it.
Absolutely. I watched a little bit of it. I don't know if it was long enough to register as a point in their viewership numbers. But I did want to see, is it Shador? What's the Shiloh? I wanted to see young Dion at the helm at quarterback, so I thought it was good.
I saw that hit. His cornerback was Shiloh. I saw that hit. He had a stick, unlike Dion doesn't do that.
Right. Nah, he did. That was the corner that came up, and he did play at South Carolina before transferring. We are going to say our parting ways to our man, the Big Flow Show. Big Flow Show, you got a action-packed sports weekend.
I got to catch a flight. My son's playing Detroit Catholic Central. We're going to go out there and show him what Chicago football is all about. So I'm going to go catch a flight right now, head out to Detroit. Shout out one of my homies, Big Herb Gibson. He might be watching today. Come check you out before the game. So anyway, love y'all. Great show.
Doesn't a private jet leave when you want to leave? Why you got to go?
Wheels up. They told me wheels up at a certain time. I pushed him back because of the show. But I started getting paid double. I got to pay double if I wait too long. So,
All right. Well, we'll say our goodbyes to him. We got a few more minutes. Safe travels, my brother. Enjoy the game. And good luck to your son and his team.
Thank you.
We'll close out on this. ETP, you and I, we'll bring us home. We got to talk because, Ball Hawk Sports Talk, sports, business, entertainment collide. We got a few quick business topics to hop into, entertainment, and then we're gonna do this lightning round and then get on out of here. When it comes to business, TJ Watt just signed a 4-year deal, $112 million, and he held out. I didn't hear a lot about him being selfish and all that good stuff. TJ Watt plays for a team who shall remain nameless because the division that we run, the Dog Pound, will name other cats. But he got paid. Do you think he was worth the money? And is it indicative of the cultural differences of how we address these holdout situations? Because no one ever said anything bad about TJ Watt while he held out.
Yeah, I mean, well, is it worth it? You're worth as much as you can negotiate, right? So,
True.
so he's definitely
Touché, my
worth it.
brother.
And to be a marquee, I mean, he's making half of what the highest paid quarterbacks are making. And if you're supposed to be the best defensive player in the game, I'd say it's worth it, right? And the holdout piece, yeah, I mean, there's a little, it feels a little bit of a double standard. I think the other piece is he was really quiet about it. I didn't really get the sense that this holdout, like the holdout wasn't really that public. Like there was rumblings of it, where a lot of the other, holdouts that have been kind of historically condemned, like you mentioned, Le'Veon Bell and, other players where, while I do think that there may be a double standard, there may be a racial undertone, there's also a difference in the approach to it, right? Like a private negotiation and playing it out in the public has two different complexions, pun or no pun intended. But, so for him, it didn't seem like it was a big distraction. It just seemed drawn out, and he didn't hold out in the season. He held out in the preseason. Nobody wants to play in the preseason anyway. You see all the injuries that are happening.
Right. Very fair. The NFL, while players and former players refer to that acronym as not for long because of the number of games you're in, you're out, the NFL is trying to have a lot more longevity and stick-to-itiveness to a whole new fan base. They're now going to basically give exclusive rights to each one of the franchises to establish a relationship with a specific region or country. They're trying to make this game more global, and they're going to do so franchise by franchise, one at a time, region by region, country by country, and move it in that direction. Do you think it's a great idea from a business standpoint now that we're on the business segment? And can you see this working for them?
Yeah, I think it's really smart, right? Because so as an example, when they started doing the London games at Wembley Stadium, you go to London and people that I've talked to, they're like, I'm a big Dolphins fan. I'm like, why are you a big Dolphins fan? Like, oh, well, I brought my kids to go see the Dolphins play the Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. And so now we're a Dolphins fan. So I definitely think, just from the opportunity to grow the game outside the borders of the United States and do it in a way where the onus is now on the teams, because the NFL doesn't have the scale financially independently to go out and start to blanket the globe. But now they start to say, all right, hey, Cleveland Browns, why don't you guys go and try to take over Western Europe or other,
Canada.
Asia,
We're going to Canada, baby. We just got to drive north. We got Canada.
Yeah, I think Detroit might beat you to that.
Nah, man. No.
So, and the Vikings. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. It's just interesting, right? Because then you get this regionality. You go to other countries and you're going to see people that have fan bases. They're going to be focused. Like, I'm a big Tennessee Titans fan and I live in, Zimbabwe. It's like, so it'll be interesting to see how they break it up and what teams are going to go after which markets. I think the bordering, the Canada, the Mexico, the islands and things of that will be easy. But like, who's going to go into Asia? Who's going to go into parts of Europe? Who's going to go into Africa? Are some places going to be left out just because the financial opportunities aren't there? It'll be interesting to see how they roll it out.
Hopefully the Cleveland Browns go into Africa. Let's go to West Africa, baby. Let's go make our mark in West Africa. We have a whole dog pound over here in West Africa. The other business topic before we get out of here today is name, image, and likeness. We talked about it being the Wild Wild West. We've talked about so many different variations of these deals. what do you have this week? What do you think we've seen with name, image, and likeness this week that supports these are good business people? These are entrepreneurs. These are deal makers, and we used to just call them athletes. There are a few of them that I liked. I don't know if any of them stood out to you. You know, we've looked at it. We're following this closely to our fans, to our listeners, to our loyal supporters. First, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and make sure that you subscribe in the podcast world. But second, know that we're on the job. We are following name, image, and likeness and following these deals. Any of them stood out to you this week?
Couple. One, the first alcohol deal for a college athlete with Islam Murata, FAU quarterback. I think his name is Nkosi Perry, signed a deal. First alcohol deal, which does start to question, you know, there's a lot of regulations around alcohol advertising, and, you know, you can't really advertise too much when there's underage markets. And if you don't have more than 75% of your audience isn't over the drinking age. So it's that one's interesting because I wonder how it's going to be responded to and regulated. But, you know, if you're drinking age, you can endorse any alcohol brand because you're legal. So that one's definitely interesting. The other one, which I'd love to get your perspective on, is Michigan State, right? So now there's actually a almost like an organization-wide NIL deal for every single player on the roster of the basketball and the football team to get $500 a month, similar to what we were talking about with the University of Miami. But this one has actually been signed. The ink is dry. It's with United Wholesale, which is a mortgage lender out of Michigan, and they already had a relationship. The CEO and the owner is a former walk-on athlete, and he donated $32 million for the new football facility for Michigan State. So what do you think about now that there's a full not even just a team, a multi-team deal, paid for by a booster, and it's
publicly celebrated. I'll say right before I get to Michigan State, because I will get there, the alcohol deal and sort of the sin tax, what we call sin tax, the drinking and the gambling and the pornography. That's where I think this whole Wild Wild West approach is going to go awry, because it's only a matter of time before a pornography site approaches one of these college athletes, and like, so how far are we going to let it go? I'll say that this is where I think that, you know, the over sexualization and objectification of the women athletes that we've seen is gonna snowball, and that objectification, I don't think is going to be just limited to the women. But when it comes to Michigan State, the stuff that was happening under the table is now happening in plain view. And that's simply what we see here. The $32 million football facility that this particular booster has already signed the check for, those are the same boosters that were giving perks to players under the table. And now we're seeing it in plain view. What do I think about it? Again, it's like they absolved the people that really needed the responsibility to do right by the players. They being third parties like this company that can pay everyone $500, they have absolved the institution, Michigan State, from breaking bread. They've absolved the NCAA and the March Madness tournament and the college football playoff. All the people that are getting paid off the backs of these players are still keeping their bread. And now these third parties that happen to have bread too from other sources are saying, hey, but that was already happening. So this is where the name, image, and likeness evolution to me is kind of like, it's window dressing. Because
it's the same thing, right? Like you're saying, it's the same mechanics. It's just you can pull the curtain back and nobody gets, there's no sting operation. Nobody loses their Heisman Trophy. Nobody vacates wins.
Matter of fact, they need to get back their Heisman Trophy. Those teams need to get back their wins because these are the things that people got the death penalty for. These are the things that people got publicly embarrassed for. And now that the NCAA and these institutions, by way of Congress and influence from policymakers, have said that it's okay to do it and found a way that it could be considered, air quote, fair to find a third party source to pay this money. Now that that's happened, they need to reinstate the Heismans. They need to help people build back their reputation. But at the same time, I think it should be a slither, one of the verticals, one of the revenue streams, not the only one. Because there's still a lot of money out there that is directly connected to the athletes that is not being shared. And if we're saying that they can get paid by one source, why can't they get paid by the other?
Right.
Let fair be fair. Because that $32 million football facility was put there on the backs of players because of what they did on the field. Right? And so that is not the only financial windfall that Michigan State probably got from them. I'm sure the endowment got a little bit. I'm sure. So let's let the players get theirs directly from the source, which is the institution, which is the NCAA, which is so that's my only thing with it. But it's not a big deal to me because I've been a part of conversations with people that have been in this world, myself included, as a college athlete and at a big school and friends of mine being in other schools. I know what's been going on. So all we did was we made it public, but it's not a big deal to me. Not a big deal to me. I'll let you get last word on the NIL deals of the week, and then we're going to get on out of here, man. Well, is there anything else that stood out? Anything else you want to discuss? Because for our viewers who don't know, my man ETP Ellis, the producer, in addition to being the producer of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk and being the guy, he's also someone that has spent a vast amount of his career developing brands and understanding marketing and knowing how to monetize that. And so I always like hearing your view on what name, image, and likeness, the weekly transaction of a name, image, and likeness. I'll let you give us last word before we go home.
The only thing I'll say is that when we were talking about the alcohol deal, I just imagine what it would have been like if this legislation changed while Johnny Manziel was playing college football. Like, of all, I mean, even maybe Baker Mayfield, but Johnny Manziel, you talk about
Tebow.
Yeah, but Tebow's not going to do a pornography endorsement.
Got it. Oh,
so I'm just thinking when you talk about all the syntax endorsements, right?
Got it. He would have been on the other side. He would have been the Saint taxes. He would have had the entire. Yeah, he had like all of the Christian, the mega churches would have endorsed him, man. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, but yeah. So I think it's just really fun, I guess, just because it's not affecting me. I'm kind of on the outside looking in as an observer, but it's really intriguing watching this whole thing unfold. And I used to have the same line of thinking with you. The NCAA and the schools are very much still controlling their revenue and not sharing it. But at the same time, I'm happy that there's, these players are able to send some money home to cover some expenses for their families. Right. They're able to take their lady friends or, their significant others out to dinners. They're able to get some clothes. They're not living glorified poverty, which, as college athletes, you're so restricted from doing anything to actually survive other than play the game. And most of the time only play the game, not even play go to school, or it gets in the way of that. So that's good about it. But it's just interesting because we're starting to see this, like these team deals. We're starting to see the individual deals. Spencer Rattler's got a Champ Sport deal. We talked about Shador Sanders with Beats. So it's a really interesting case study, and there's so many tentacles to this thing. But I just think about the idea that walk-ons are getting money now, and that there's that there's kids that are actually that really went to college, and that was a huge opportunity for their families, and now they're able to actually put some money, help their family pay some bills or pay off some debt or get them a new car. I can appreciate it, but it's messy. And the NCAA, I think we belabor the point on this show, but nobody else really does, about how the NCAA is not absolved from their cartel-like ways and the way that this whole thing is still being controlled, because they're benefiting from NIL at the same time. Michigan State explicitly said, we're going to use this deal as a recruiting tool. So it helps them get more talent. It helps them get bigger TV licensing deals. It helps them sell more merchandise. It helps them, get more talent to get to the college football playoff and get that revenue. Right. So at the end of the day, the cartel never loses. House always wins.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better, man. So that we'll leave it there in terms of name, image, and likeness. But understand, listeners, that we on this, man, because we want to see the evolution. And what I think is, as long as we put a very bright light on it and make this as public as possible, and we make these deals as public as possible, what we do is we protect the young adult, the young person who might not have the business experience to take full advantage of the opportunity. Because $500 a month, that's cool. But I'm also looking at a lot of these deals like, know your worth, king. Know your worth, queen. So I think us putting a spotlight on it, make sure that in a way there's a sort of a pseudo protection mechanism to make these student athletes whole in whatever they decide to do. Let's go home on entertainment, man. For the 30-second round, there's a whole bunch of celebrity boxing being discussed. Holyfield fighting on Triller, and Donald Trump is commentating. What in the what?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a video of Holyfield training on Instagram. It looked like it was in slow motion. I'm concerned about this. Donald Trump, former president, is commentating. This is just all bad. And last night, I think Donald Trump essentially challenged Joe Biden to a fight. So it's getting a little bit. Why not? It's like a South Park episode or something. This is so parody.
It's the new normal, man. We've been in hibernation. There has been no school. We've been learning. There's been online learning for 20 months. There's been a pandemic. There was a hurricane essentially in New Jersey. Ida was a hurricane basically. So why not? It's the new normal. And in the midst of it, look, T.O. says he'll knock the chunky soup out of Donovan McNabb. That's one I would pay to see. I want to see that fight.
I think that'd be a pretty. I don't know what Donovan's been doing, but T.O. always looks ready. He looked like he could play running back. He could go play for the Ravens and play running back. So he's ready to go. It would be a mismatch. I don't think Donovan's been in the gym as much. T.O. looked like he does sit-ups in his driveway every morning.
Right. Not many have been in the gym as much as T.O. the last several years. He still look like he bout it, fool. Drake, Certified Lover Boy. He's got all of the sports influence on his new album. I'm a Donda man. I like Kanye and his evil genius. Or I don't know what you would call him. You got to be off the hinges a little bit to be that good at something. And so I'm a Donda guy, but Certified Lover Boy has enthralled and brought in the sports world. It is ensnared all of us, not only from a listening standpoint, but from an actual creation standpoint. KD was an advisor on this album. Kawhi Leonard is in the Way Too Sexy video. We know that Drake likes to be courtside. He mentioned the Greek freak. He said the whole name in a verse. I don't know, man. Is this the new norm? Is sports, and I would say the new norm. We've always had an overlap, but maybe not that directly connected. Certified Lover Boy as an album was quite the gem anticipated by everyone. And now we're seeing all of the sports influence. Let's go home there before we get out of here.
Yeah, man. It's just funny that how embedded Drake is. I mean, and even Kanye, right? Like Kanye's in sports stadiums, album release parties, or listening parties, filling up stadiums. Drake's got the athletes, he's got the influencers. So it's a really interesting way that they're both kind of leveraging pop culture, entertainment, sports to promote their music, their product. But the fact that he was getting KD, I didn't realize KD was such a tastemaker of, and a curator of music that Drake is asking for KD's feedback. So, I mean, when you're the greatest at something in the moment, I guess you're great. You can be great at everything. So that's surprising.
Allen Iverson used to spit bars. Remember, AI used to spit bars under his alias.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if if Biggie was getting any advice from Allen Iverson on what type of music he should be making. But
very fair.
But yeah, no, it's funny, man. But we'll see. Drake just always wants to, he always utilizes the right celebrities and contacts, and he's always in the mix. So I don't expect anything different from him, and we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah, even the Donda album, while there have been critics, Drake was the one who released that Andre 3000 verse that was not supposed to be released, and there's a buzz around that. This is the back to school episode. And we've talked sports, we've talked business, we've talked entertainment. I appreciate all your contributions, ETP. Great week as always, man. Let's keep on following this name, image, and likeness saga, and we're going to bring it to our people. Like we ask you guys every week, please like, please comment, please share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and please subscribe in the podcast world. In this episode of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Brazy. I just added that one. It was the back to school episode, and we talked about the idea of learning, the idea of back to school. It's more elevated this week because we spent 20 months with our kids. Let's make sure we appreciate the silver lining that we got the time to spend with family. Wouldn't have happened but for the pandemic. But back to school is a time where we got the new haircuts. We got the new clothes. It's a time of excitement. And the same thing is true with our college football experience now. It's back. Notre Dame pulled off what was looking like they were going to give it away, a victory against Florida State. It just felt good that it's back. The NFL experience is back. Got to see some good football last night. But it's a two-way learning street. Sports, business, and entertainment is a two-way learning street, just like school is. We're learning a lot from the Naomi Osakas of the world. And while we will analyze it here on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, we leave room for interpretation. We love that you guys join us. We ask you to join us again next week. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We only do it one way, rough, rugged, and raw. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Thank you. We is out.